And after that report on building, we now have our interactive segment where on the other side of the studio, Brian Kimani is on standby to give us more in terms of digital transformation. Over to you, Brian.
Well, thank you very much, Joy, for that introduction. And of course, today we just want to have a look at digital transformation in Kenya. If I can take you back to April this year when the government launched the digital master plan that is supposed to transform the country into ICT-based economy in the next 10 years. And so those are the issues that we want to focus on this afternoon. And of course, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Brian Kimani is my name. I'm talking to the chairman of DX5 or Digital Transformation 5, formerly CIO Africa. This is Hare. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Hare. I mean, we were with you in Diani when this document was launched by the outgoing CS for information. What is striking about that document for you?
I think what is striking about the document is the intent. The intent by the government to create an enabling environment, to create structures, to create infrastructure that will digitize the country and benefit from what anything, you know, from the digital transformation debate that we're talking about. Because digital transformation is about, it's not about patch-ups. It's, you know, you're not patching up stuff. You're not really improving what you've been doing, but you're rethinking. You're rethinking completely what you've been doing and put it in a better way, a more efficient way to achieve your goals. Yeah.
And when you look at the current trajectory that the country has taken in terms of developing ICT infrastructure, ICT talent in Kenya, and of course reforming our curriculum to suit the modern day needs, are you convinced that we're on the right path?
I think we are. And you know, I always joke around this, and a lot of people do actually, that, you know, Kenya, we have the best plans, we have the best strategies, we have the best thinking around digital, and even the best talent, if I can say that. But a lot of the time where we falter or where we pull back is when we now have to implement those strategies, when we have to implement what we've said in our plans. I think that's where now there's a disconnect. But if we can tie that together, I think if you look at private sector, if you look at government, if you look at the talent that is coming up, you know, there's a lot of things that we can do as a country to move ourselves forward. Yeah.
And when you look at the digital talent pool that we have in this country, do you think we have proper policies, we have proper processes of harnessing these?
I think, you know, the talent discussion has been big in the last few months, and I think we've built talent, but there's something else we need to do. I think we need to now deepen that talent. We need to go deeper in terms of if we're building or if we're creating or producing, for instance, data analysts, right? We need to, we have data analysts, but now let's go deep on data analysis, so that we have the best of the best. Because that's the only way we can actually come up as a country. Because you see, it's a competitive environment globally, and we're no longer competing, you know, within our region. We're competing globally, and this is one of the reasons why we actually have the Digital Transformation Awards. We want to bring out the best of the best. To show that, you know, the country and the continent at large has the talent, has the brains, you know, to move our country and our continent into a digital realm. Yeah.
And you see, you're talking about talent, and you know, of late we have seen the influx of global ICT titans, you know, like Google, like Microsoft, you know, setting up their base here in Kenya on a recruiting mission whereby they are taking the best of the cream, you know, to work for them. And this brain drain, do you think is really helping us as a country?
I don't look at it as as brain drain, actually. I look at it from a very positive point of view, because you see, so Christopher, I'm just creating a name, who's a developer, works for Hare, okay? I am a local company. Probably my skill level or my demand for skill level is at a certain level, at a lower level. If you compare to, say, a global company like Microsoft or AWS or Netflix. So if Netflix hires Christopher to go work for AWS or Netflix, do you know what happens there? That skill level is uplifted to that level. So you're quickly realizing that all this talent that we feel it's brain drain, but that's actually upskilling our talent.
You know, but the challenge is coming by the fact that, I mean, for example, if you're hired by a Silicon Valley-based company to go and work there, then your chances of coming back, you know, to work in Kenya are as slim as it can
I don't
get.
think so. I disagree. I completely disagree, because you see, if this talent, if somebody is hired by a Silicon Valley, whatever it is, company, and they go to Silicon Valley, and by the way, a lot of them actually don't even travel. They work from here, because a lot of those companies are actually, you know, they work remotely. So they're hired by a Silicon Valley company, but they work remotely from here. But let's assume that this person will go to Silicon Valley. I can guarantee you 3 years, and they'll be back here. Because you see,
we have empirical evidence to that effect.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of people do that, and it's about you going, getting the skill level that you're looking for, elevating your networks to whatever they want you want them to be, and then come and build back at home.
But you see, the question that you know, the challenge that is coming here is because, for example, I mean, you have gone through the Kenyan educational system,
correct?
Whereby, you know, government, you know, families and so much, you know, they have invested so much in
Yes.
you. And with high expectations, and then you go to university, to a technical institution, and you imagine the best. But before you could plow back that knowledge into the Kenyan economy, into the Kenyan ICT landscape, then you're hired by a multinational to help with innovations that are all geared towards building their economies.
I think that's where now you look at these people as your ambassador into wherever they go. They'll be hired by a Silicon Valley company, but at the end of the day, they're Kenyan. Their roots are here, so they'll go wherever they go, but they'll come back here. And when they come back, and you know, to me, it's about upskilling. Honestly, it's about upskilling our talent for us to be able to. You know, I'll give you an example of Korea. Korea, back in the 90s, you know, they were more proactive as a government, because they actually sent out some of their scientists to Europe, to the US, and to all these developed countries, so that they can learn the skill, understand how they do business, and then after X number of years come back and build your country. And look at Korea.
But we have such a platform.
So we don't,
such an argument.
We don't have that structure.
But do you think it is high time we develop such?
I think so. And I think it's for us to give, you know, create an environment and give incentives to these people who are hired by these companies and they leave the country. I'm telling you, a lot of them don't leave. A lot of them work remotely from here. But the ones who leave, let's create a structure and an incentive program where, you know, after X number of years, you know, you can come back and start your own business or plug in to a certain sector and develop that sector.
And when you look at our curriculum, for example, I mean, do you see well thought out intentions of reorienting our training into, you know, courses that will matter into the future?
I think there we're struggling.
You're struggling?
I think we're struggling in the sense that a lot of because I look at the university because that's where probably I know more. But if you look at the universities, I think curriculum development needs to be faster. Because I think within the universities, I think curriculum development takes probably about 5 years. Now, 5 years in IT is like a lifetime. Yeah. And you may not be able to develop or produce industry-ready graduates. But again, sometimes it's difficult to do a one-on-one match for a skill that is for the future. So it's also, I think it's a responsibility of all the players to actually create a pipeline of talent for the future. So it's not just the university, it's the private sector, it's government, so we just have to work together to create that pipeline so that we can secure our future.
And so the challenge then comes because, as you are saying, 2, 3, 4 years, in the tech industry, that is what you call outdated technology. But you have a situation whereby, our institutions of higher learning, are still churning out graduates with technology that was developed in 1990s, in early 2000s. So how do we ensure that, our transformation turnaround of our curriculum is fast enough to catch up with the latest trends in ICT?
I think it's easy. It's not a difficult thing, but it requires us to be honest, and it requires intent. We have to be purposeful about it. Because you see, when industry and academia are working in parallel, that's when you have this kind of mismatch. Yeah, we need to start having a stronger tie between industry and academia. Yep. And I don't know where we lost it, but I think there used to be a very strong tie between all industry, not just IT. Yeah. Between all industries where you have a very strong tie between the academia and a specific industry. I remember when I was in university, we were recruited at the university because they knew the kind of people that they wanted, and they knew, okay, if we want to recruit technical students, it's a school of science or a school of whatever, So we need to have that tightness where even the private sector is involved in some of the, when you're renewing curriculum development. Yeah, I think that tie is what is missing. Yeah.
So how do you create, that linkage?
I think it's just continuous discussions and partnerships. I know there's some universities who've taken it upon themselves to really work with private sector. And getting to know what the private sector is. I keep on joking every time I speak with my professor friends that I think university professors, and I know I'll be killed for this, but university professors need to go for internship. Need to go for internship in private sector so that they can understand what is happening in the private sector, so that when they go back to teach, then they're talking from a point of knowledge, because you see they've interned. You've gone to, say, for instance, if you're teaching computer science, you go to Liquid Telecom, for instance, an intern there for 3 months or whatever amount of time. So when you live there, you know exactly what challenges these companies have, and therefore you can integrate that into your training. Yeah.
And I remember one of the local universities, talked about developing incubation centers and retraining centers, even for their professors and lecturers. I don't know whether that has happened, but do you think that can be a concept that can be adopted?
It could be. You see, incubation is slightly different, because you see, what are you incubating? Are you incubating a business? Are you incubating talent?
Ideas.
Yeah. So if it's ideas you're incubating, I think it's just an industry. It has to be a deliberate industry academia partnership. Yeah.
Let's now talk about the DX5 awards. You know, what we used to call the CIO awards. I mean, now as an organization, I mean, you've been around for the last 15 years.
Yes.
You're telling me.
Yes.
What have you learned about Kenya's digital transformation journey?
It's been interesting, and especially if I look at it from the lens of the awards, because you see, before the awards, we do a lot of back work. So we do a whole survey, looking at what people are doing in terms of, you know, we ask them what they're doing, what kind of projects they're taking on, what kind of budgets they're spending on these projects, what are those projects, what are they solving, what is the problem that you're solving. So I feel like we're getting to maturity. And when I say we're getting to maturity, is you're starting to see a very good understanding of what technology can do for a business or for an organization, and therefore you find there's a very strategic approach to technology. You know those days, what used to happen is, accounts needs a printer. Okay, here is money, go buy a printer. We need to have financial services. You know, we need an accounting system. Okay, all right. So you get an accounting system. But now you're seeing a lot of the adoption and execution of IT within businesses is very strategic and tied to the objectives of the business. Yeah, so that's the maturity I'm talking about. So you're not just doing IT for IT's sake, but you're actually bringing in IT to help a business problem. Yeah.
And when you look at you know, the issues around innovation, are we doing well? Because just the other day I was going through a report, I can't remember which one, that was saying that you know, Rwanda, which is our next door neighbor, has edged out Kenya as one of the top 10 innovative countries in Africa.
Don't read those reports.
They're lying. Or what?
I think we're okay.
We're okay.
We're okay. I think we probably lost a bit of time. Especially, you know, there's certain ingredients. There's certain ingredients that you need for any innovation ecosystem to strive. Yeah. So you need good government policy. You need good universities, and you need serious entrepreneurship. Yeah. So we have those ingredients. Yeah. But we need to now make them work together. So you'll find that a lot of the time, either government is running on its own, or the private sector entrepreneurs are running on their own. So
there's no synergy.
Yeah, there's no synergy. There's no partnership. There's no what's the word? Yeah. So people are not working together. But we have all the ingredients
in place,
and even without that partnership, you still see amazing products coming out of startups, and we'll have some of these startups at DX100 at the awards, because we've been looking at some of the startups who are doing some amazing work as well. Yeah.
In 30 seconds, I want to hear from you. I mean, where do you see Kenya's digital space in the next 5 years?
In space, but I think I see a much more robust digital space. I see digital transformation taking root, and you know, I would welcome everybody to come to the DX100 awards in November in Diani, because that's where now you see the innovation at work. Yeah.
Well, I promise to come there.
Awesome.
God giving live, so
awesome.
So that we can continue with this conversation.
Excellent.
Hare, thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining us this afternoon, and of course helping us with your insights.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Hare is the chairman of DX5, formerly CIO Africa, joining us this afternoon to help us understand Kenya's journey of digital transformation, where we are going, the challenges, and of course the opportunities. You have heard it from him. We now want to take you back to Joy to continue with the rest of the bulletin. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Thank you very much indeed. Back to you, Joy.